Star Trek fan club are on our panel. They will talk about all things Trek, current news, favorite Trek moments, actor gossip, and meaning in Star Trek. They will also discuss upcoming productions, including the new Star Trek Beyond movie, out in theaters July 22nd, and CBS's new Star Trek TV series set for 2017. There will be a Q&A period for the audience and a drawing for a Star Trek item. For the drawing, the first row has the slips for you to complete, and then at the end of the panel here, we can take the drawing. So if you want to maybe just grab one, and there's more up here if need be, okay? Be sure to visit their booth. It's near the restaurant, or the restroom exit in the main hall. It's just right down this way. They have great stuff. I was walking by it a bunch of times yesterday. Let's see, the display features two of Steve. This is Steve right here, gentlemen. Features two of Steve's largest USS Enterprise ships, plus replicas and a snack replicator. Willie Yee, MD, is the Health and Safety Officer for Star Trek New Voyages, a fan-based series in Ticonderoga, New York. Steve Robinson is a walking encyclopedia on Star Trek, including memorabilia and trivia, so give him your best questions. And Lee Starshine heads up the local club. She's infamous for owning no Star Trek items except for 7 Star Trek uniforms and a United Federation of Planets keychain.
You call yourself a fan?
I'm a minimalist fan.
Each panelist will be up to 2 minutes to answer the following questions, and after the end of these particular questions, we're going to open up the floor and let you folks throw out some of your questions as well. So, it's the 50th anniversary of Star Trek. What impact do you think Gene Roddenberry's series had on American culture?
I saw Star Trek when I was in the 70s, when I was young, and as a kid I tended to just took things as they were, just take things as they come, and I didn't understand what a Cold War was, or anything about race or anything like that. I just took it as it was. Well, later on I found out that this was actually quite a surprising show for people, because there were people working in harmony, people of different races, as well as Russian came on board, I guess, in the second season, Chekhov. And at the time, the Cold War was in full production, and I suppose that this shocked people, the idea that we would ever get along with that. So I think that this helped us wake up to the idea of creating a better future. I think that when Star Trek Next Generation came out, I was older and able to process the fact that Picard, instead of going, pew, pew, shoot 'em up, phasers, fire phasers, every time he encountered a problem, he tried to solve it using words. And I think that was a good example for us.
Excellent.
Personally, Star Trek was a great revolution for me as an Asian American, because Sulu was the first Asian American I'd seen on television who wasn't either a bad guy or a complete caricature like Charlie Chan. As far as Star Trek's broader impact on society, there was my daughter, who's now an astrophysicist, who was applying for college. She says, "Daddy, we want this essay, and one of the questions is, where did you get your values from? Or name someone who gave you your values." How do I explain that all my values came from the 23rd century? Everything I need to know in life, I learned from Star Trek and Babylon 5. And if you go to the Carl Sagan Fellowship page with her bio, she tells you why she's interested in exoplanets, because of Star Trek. And if you go to the I mean, if I want to do my fan stuff, I can probably find more fans at an astronomy conference than I can at a Comic-Con. I mean, when we did this at the Northeast Astronomy Forum a month ago, the place was packed. So Star Trek has really had a real impact in inspiring people into going into science and studying space.
I've come to kind of hate this question. We get this a lot as fans. Why do we do this? Is this on? Now it's on.
You get close. Eat the
Right.
Eat the mic.
Right. We get this a lot as to what got us started. Why do we sit here, wearing these funny shirts, wearing those pointed ears, and going like this all the time? We don't really have pat answers for this because I'm pretty sure by now if you ask 20 different fans, you're probably going to get 20 different answers. We're a pretty diverse bunch, and we all come here for different reasons. I've been asked this from everybody from parents to Fox News reporters, and I've pretty much developed a pat answer now that I stole from the late Mr. Nimoy. Basically, the response now is, logic cannot explain why, I only know that I must do this. We like it, it's fun. Star Trek over the 50 years, nobody I think could have foreseen that 50 years later we'd be sitting here hoping for an audience, celebrating a TV show that only ran for 3 years. I'll stop there.
All right. This is a great question because this one here I think has answers that can reach many dimensions. But what was your favorite moment in Star Trek and why? And what did you learn? And why did it have meaning for you? Because I think, Lee, I'm going to let you start with that one.
Well, I watched the episode with the Gorn a long time ago. Arena. In the original series, and Captain Kirk is put onto a planet to face an adversary who's bigger, stronger, and naturally well-armed. He discovers he cannot win using his muscles, so he uses his mind. And I like the fact that he found another way of solving the problem instead of violence. After he defeated the Gorn using a cannon, he said, "I will not kill today." I like that.
My favorite moment was in the episode called Errand of Mercy. It's the one where the crew beams down to the planet and the Klingons are there and they're threatening to kill hostages, etc., etc., etc. And at the end, it turns out the beings are beings of pure energy and they've gone way beyond such petty things as war. And he said, "We just can't allow you to do this." To me, this had a very spiritual dimension. Very good outlook on the future that we can look forward to evolving to a point where we get beyond all this bullshit that we're dealing with right now.
It's hard for me to actually pick a moment out of Star Trek itself. I mean, there's so many. But I have had favorite moments in the Star Trek experience just in being a fan, so I'm going to tell you a little story here. Proud to say that the Hudson Valley has had its own small role in Star Trek fandom, almost from its inception. I'm going to tell you a story about a young man I used to know, lived not far from here in the Red Oaksville area. Back in the early 70s, when this whole Star Trek convention thing started taking off.
Sorry.
Communicator?
Yeah, I know, it's like acting up. There you go, got it.
I'm going to tell you a little story back in the 70s. There was a young man who lived here around Meadows Mill named Michael McMaster. I don't know if some of the older fans might remember him or not, but he was basically one of the very first super fans. When I first met him and found out about him, was actually one of the first people to back engineer and build a full-size replica of his very own bridge set. Half circle, science, communications, elevator, engineering, and the floors, railings, captain's chair. And he not only displayed it for himself, he eventually went around taking it to those very first conventions. And I basically soon got the job of assisting him and helping to take it apart, put it on the truck, plugging it around. I also helped him in print department. He was one of the very first early blueprinters, coming up with early versions of like Klingon blueprints, Romulan vertebrae blueprints. I would proofread those things. And I would help him keep the set accurate by scanning slide after slide after slide. We didn't have, VHS or DVDs back then. We had to use 35mm slides. These were actual little film clips. And I would put these in a projector, we would blow them up the wall, and I would study these till our eyes bled, finding out which button was red, which button was blue, which button was yellow, which button was green. It was my job to mark all that down so we could put the right buttons in the right spot on the right panels. I really had to help keep that thing accurate. But the story goes, we were at one convention, early 70s. This is probably Midtown, New York, 1972, 73. We're probably at the Roosevelt or Commodore hotels. We heard a rumor one night about some sort of convention party that was going to go on somewhere upstairs. Convention suite, big party, everybody's going to be there. Come. So Michael and I locked up our set. We looked around. There's no party. We went up to the suite. There's no party. Nobody knew anything. We went back down to the convention floors. Couldn't find anybody who knew anything about a party. We turned a corner and we bumped, almost literally, into George Takei. Now this was years before George had come out. I remember George actually had a young lady on each arm. We said hello. He said, "What are you doing here, George?" And he asked us, "Do you know where the con party is? We're looking for it." He said, "We can't find it either." So there we were, about half a dozen people, all dressed up, nowhere to go. And I can't remember if it was Mike or his agent Jeff who suggested it, but they made the suggestion, "Look, we have the set, why don't you come over there, we'll light it up, we'll send out for pizza, we'll take pictures, we'll at least spend a few hours together." George was agreeable enough to do that for us. He came to the set, we sent out for pizza, we lit everything up. We sat George down in the captain's chair, he posed for pictures. I kind of like to think of it as the night that whole Zulu for Captain thing started.
Great story. All right, let's see.